through the standard portion of that invitational, rather. I believe his loss to Tom was his only loss in standard that entire weekend.
That is correct.
I wouldn't be making a lot of radical changes either.
And what a loss it was.
Yeah.
A real beating.
Yep.
So Bachand versus Duke is where we'll begin, and Duke is going to start off our tournament with a Hypnotic Siren. Bachand will play a Thoughtseize, and you see Reid has mulliganed a few times here. He does have a Domestication, a Biden of Thassa, and a Mutavault, but he's on a mulligan of 5 right now.
And there's one copy of Hypnotic Siren in this list. We've seen the 9th 1-drop get included. We've seen the Gale Sliver show up in Ross's winning list, for example, and a Hypnotic Siren in Reid's.
Reid going to play a Mutavault, come across here for 1, and he's going to pass the turn back over to Bachand. Bachand certainly at an advantage when cards are concerned. We'll see if he's able to take advantage of that moving forward, as he's going to play a Temple of Enlightenment.
And interestingly enough, I don't believe any blue cards in the list. Sometimes you see a card like this bridge the gap for something like Nightveil Spectre. It's a plains that can generate blue mana.
Thoughtseize number 2 here for Bachand. Has the same options between Domestication and Biden of Thassa. I'm going to take Biden this time. These main deck Domestications here from Duke, 2 of them. He's found them both. Probably trying to give himself a little bit of an edge in the mono blue mirror.
There's a bunch of matchups where Domestication is among your better cards. So not surprising to see the move to the main deck. I know Greg Hatch in the Vegas Invitational a little while back had 2 or perhaps 3 in his main deck.
Yeah, he had quite a few.
So not that uncommon to see this.
So Duke just playing an island off the top of his deck, come in with the Mutavault and the Siren. Bachand is already down to 12. And Duke will draw a card. Again, we know he has Domestication. Not sure what the mystery card in his hand is right now. Reid's list pretty stock, all things considered. Mono Blue doesn't really have a lot of moving parts. The spells here this weekend for Reid: 1 Rapid Hybridization, a Cyclonic Rift, 2 Biden of Thassa, and 2 copies of Domestication. As he does come across here for 3 points yet again. Bachand is down to 9.
Taking his slumps here.
He needs to find something to do.
He is without double black, and now he has a second swamp here, but his creature base is Lifebane Zombie and Desecration Demon, so with only a single swamp in play, there's not a lot for him to do.
Bachand just going to pass the turn. You have to imagine he's got a removal spell at the ready now, as Duke will draw a card here. Again, we know about the Domestication in Reid's hand. Not sure about the rest of the contents.
The second black is critical here for Jacob, as it allows him to cast Hero's Downfall and Bioblight. So probably turns on some removal spell in his hand.
And you see Reid respecting that, not attacking with the Mutavault. Looks like he does have a follow-up play, however, and it will be a Tidebinder Mage. Nothing to target, so just a boring old 2-2 here for Duke. You have to imagine Bachand was hoping to catch that Mutavault, but Duke refusing to activate it. Bioblight will take care of the Tidebinder Mage.
Just a little too obvious that something's going on with Jacob at that point, playing the second black mana and just passing.
Bachand reaching for mana here. Had a pretty low 8 life, all things considered, with Duke on a mulligan to 5. Let's make it 6, as here's a Thoughtseize. It's Nightveil Spectre and Domestication.
And this third Thoughtseize is actually pretty good for Reid here. The life total that Jacob has is starting to dwindle, and you know, the Domestication in hand really isn't worth very much. Whatever else he has left over probably isn't very good also. So I think Reid is happy there to trade 2 life out of Jacob for that card.
Here comes Mutavault and the Siren yet again. Does Bachand remove? Well, he does not. Now he's already down to 3. What is he holding? I mean, it does demonstrate the power of Mutavault this game. But I have no idea what Bachand is holding in his hand. He's got a boatload of cards, 4 mana.
Well, if it's sorcery speed removal, that's trouble because he can't kill the Mutavault. He can't cast, or it's very risky rather for him to cast Lifebane Zombie because there's a Domestication in Reid's hand. So there are a fair number of cards that he can't cast, but this is surprising.
Well, this looks like a removal spell now. It's going to be a Devour Flesh. That's rather unexciting. So we'll see what card Duke wants to sacrifice. It will be the Siren. So Mutavault's going to put, looks like Bachand down to 1. Reid will get a little bit of life from the Devour Flesh. He will play an island and simply pass the turn back over to Bachand. Does Bachand find any way to answer the Mutavault? He does not.
Wow.
And Reid Duke is going to win game number 1 on a mulligan to 5. Mono Blue Devotion surprisingly up a game over Black-White midrange. A really poor draw there from Reid, too.
Black-White is one of those decks, too, because of Thoughtseize and all the removal spells where it's really hard to beat it when you mulligan. So very impressive stuff for Reid. Mulliganing to 5, getting Thoughtseize multiple times, having a Domestication stranded in his hand the whole game, and still being able to pull it out. We're
going to take a look at the sideboard. So you see Bachand already going that way. You've got that in front of you.
3 copies of Sim Collector and Erebos, God of the Dead. 1 whip of Erebos, 2 Doom Blades, 3 Farika's Cures, a Bioblight, a Banishing Light, an Obsidian, and 2 copies of Duress. I like just getting in the more creature removal. Mono Blue Devotion doesn't really have much in the way of enchantment removal, so your Banishing Light effects are going to be very good in this matchup. Additional Bioblight, even something like Farika's Cure, Reid does have a fair number of 3-toughness creatures, but just more removal. As long as you don't allow Mono Blue to build up a board, a lot of their other effects become a lot less impressive.
On Duke's side, you're going to find 4 copies of Gainsay, 3 Dissolve, 2 Negate, 3 Jace Architect of Thought, 2 copies of Domestication, means Reid's got 4 throughout his list this weekend, an additional copy of Rapid Hybridization. Love Rapid Hybridization in this matchup. Can counter a removal spell, can take care of a Blood Baron, can take care of pretty much anything. So you got to like an additional one of those.
It's versatile, it's flexible. I think it does enough stuff in the matchup. Fizzling 2 and 3 mana removal spells and getting a 3/3 left over is very attractive. I think the Dissolves are solid in this matchup as well. You don't exactly know what Jacob's up to, but it's safe to assume he has some 5-mana creatures, either Obsidian or Blood Baron, potentially Elspeth in the list as well. I don't know if he's going to want to go so far as to bring in the Negates, because he doesn't know if the battle's really going to be over the creatures or the spells. But Dissolve seems like a safe card to bring in against a deck with a lot of expensive threats like Jacob's.
You wonder if Reid knows if he's up against Black-White mid-range as well. Looked like he may have been up against an Esper deck because of that Temple of Enlightenment. It looked a little weird, right?
Yeah, it is weird. I think the 2 Swamps that Jacob played probably takes Esper off the table.
Sure.
Those mana bases can be sculpted a million different ways, so there's no certainty there, but it would be rare for an opponent to play 3 of their 4 lands, 3 of them be basics in an Esper game. It would just be rare.
As these players do finish sideboarding, we do want to talk about SCG Game Night with everybody. It has gone worldwide now, and it's coming in September.
This is exciting stuff. This is going to be occurring every Wednesday night at local stores everywhere. All participating stores is going to involve 2 pins and 8 foil tokens per week as the prize kit, with new pins and foils being brought out each month. The stores have sole discretion to run these events however they want to. So if they want to be running them as drafts or standard tournaments, that's fine. Even things like Commander, Two-Headed Giant, sanctioned or unsanctioned. We just wanted to get more grassroots, casual focus, organized play. And to that end, we're releasing game nights starting in September. Store owners, tournament organizers, if you're interested in getting these, you can sign up right now. You see that website, starcgames.com/game night sign up. And players, if you're interested in bringing these to your stores, just talk to your store owner or to your tournament organizer. Get these things up and running again every Wednesday night starting in September.
And September will be here sooner than you think.
I've been saying that about every month this year, in fact.
Yeah,
it's all come faster than I assumed it would.
I did not realize that yesterday was the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Until like 2 days before, where my friends were like, what are you doing for the 4th of July? And I'm like, what do you mean? It's Friday.
Well, Thursday night, fireworks were starting to go off by my building, and I was like, oh, what's going on? Like, is there gunfire? Like, what's going on, Eventually figured it out.
You live in a relatively safe part of San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego in general is a pretty safe.
Yeah.
And I live in a pretty suburban part of San Diego, but still, when you don't expect fireworks, it's hard to, assume that what's going on outside your building is fireworks.
I have to actually express some disappointment in people. July 3rd, when I was hanging out with my friends before I flew over on my red eye, people were just launching fireworks.
Yeah.
Could we wait?
Right.
Could we just wait, the 4 hours or whatever? Come on. What's the rush?
Right.
You get to do that all day Friday with no repercussion.
Yeah, they started going off 9 o'clock on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe it's because, now it's midnight East Coast, so it's like the New Year's thing or whatever.
No, it's not okay.
But still.
It's not okay. Just wait the day, and then just have as much fun on Friday as you want.
I totally agree.
Maybe it's just because we're
actually
old.
Not as much fun, because I think fireworks in excess are really annoying.
There's definitely a number that is appropriate.
Yeah.
I don't know what that number is, but I did see yesterday on Twitter, Tom Ross was firing off some bottle rockets off of Garrick's axe, the new Garrick.
It's Louisiana born and bred.
Yeah,
right?
that's how they do it with the boss. He said he's never fired off fireworks before, so he gave it a shot with bottle rockets off a giant axe. Sure.
Nice.
Tom Ross, of course, our Season 2 Invitational Champion with Boss Sly. We will see him at the end of the year at the Players' Championship, and hopefully sooner than that, hopefully.
I hope so, too.
And I'm sure he's working with M15. I imagine he's got some new tools to work with as far as cards are concerned. Some nice low-to-the-ground red cards for the deck.
Well, when your deck's already willing to play cards pretty close to Mon's Goblin Raider, it's easy for there to be upgrades.
Proudly.
Yeah.
Proudly playing Mon's Goblin Raider. Looks like Bachand is going to take a mulligan here while Duke is at the ready. Currently up a game is Reid with Mono Blue Devotion, a deck that was very popular the last time we were on the East Coast. Ross Merriam winning the Standard Open with that deck in rather easy fashion, all things considered.
On a bit of a rebound, too. I believe 2 copies in the elimination rounds of Portland last weekend,
Correct.
if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. Josh Ravitz among them.
Yep.
So this deck is coming back. Haven't really analyzed M15 to see if it gets any new additions. I would be surprised if it does, just because there's not really a lot of moving parts for the deck. But M15 has a lot of movers and shakers. And as we do wait for the mulligan here, we do want to take a look at our players to watch leaderboard very quickly. There are a lot of great players in attendance. Of course, no records yet, as it is just round number 1. Alex Bertoncini, number 3, and our Season 3 Players of the Championship race, David Shields, with an impressive win with Death and Taxes last time we were here. Eric Smith, former Invitational champion. Gerard Fabiano, good friend of you and I. Jared Betcher, leading the Rookie of the Year race. Hard to argue anyone hotter in Magic than him right now. Matt Costa, Max Tietz, Reid, Duke, Ross Merriam, and Rebriska are the players we'll be watching this weekend.
Pretty standard cast of, the Mid-Atlantic New England players that we have at these Opens. Providence had a lot of the same rogues gallery.
Yes, certainly did. Some players even not even on the board, because there's a lot of really good players in attendance here. 10 rounds of Magic, 463 players here in Worcester. It's going to be a fun one to watch as we work our way through our last Standard Open before M15 hits. It's going to hit in a pretty big way, it looks like.
I haven't seen this much buzz around a core set since M10. It's been that long.
Yeah, it is the real deal as we are underway here in game number 2. Just a swamp for Bachand to start. Duke with no 1-drop, just plays an island before passing the turn back. Bachand does not have a second land. Duke going to play a copy of Frostborn Weird before passing the turn back over to Bachand. Bachand does draw his second land now. It is a swamp. And he'll pass the turn back over to Duke. Again, Duke still may not actually know what he's up against, oddly enough.
There's still some room for confusion. I think the best guess would be black-white mid-range, but Jacob's draws have been so awkward and spell-light thus far that it's hard to know with any certainty.
Duke, considering his options, going to start by attacking here for one. We'll see if there'll be any pumps as he could walk this into a Bioblight. He will pump once. And this will be a Doomblade to potentially take care of that. We could see a copy of Rapid Hybridization here. You see Duke slide it to the forefront of his hand, and he's actually going to cast it. So he will cash that in, and he'll have a Frog Lizard come into play in just a moment.
And I think the reason that Reid pumped exactly once was to try to induce potentially Bioblight out of Jacob in that spot because he had the Rapid Hybridization ready to use. I'm sure he's happy to trade with the Doomblade in the same way, but I think Reid was trying to bait Jacob there.
Looks like it may have worked, as Duke does now have a 3-3 in play. Bachand just going to pass the turn back over to Duke yet again.
And for a deck that's so tempo-oriented as Mono Blue is, the spots where you get hit by Rapid Hybridization are so devastating. It's just so mana efficient, and it's a challenging card to beat if you're not very careful about it.
Ultimate Price going to join the party, take care of that Frog Lizard. Nightfell Spectre on Duke's side now, Pack Rat for Bachand. Bachand is certainly behind in this game as Duke draws another island, and he does have a Domestication in hand.
And this is one of the cards that's best against Mono Blue Devotion is Pack Rat, but it's probably going to be way too slow here for this game, even if Jacob is able to find a third land off the top right now, which is no guarantee.
In comes the Nightfell Spectre. The trigger will reveal a Pack Rat here. Duke unable to cast that right now, but maybe he'll find a swamp moving forward.
His Nykthos, his one Nykthos in his list too enables it at this point.
Yeah, we haven't seen one of those in most of these lists nowadays. 20 islands, 4 copies of Mutavault, and then the 1 Nykthos.
And I think once you have Hypnotic Siren in the list, now 1 is just kind of a 9th 1-drop, but if you got to the point where you're playing 2, I think that becomes an argument for potentially adding a second Nykthos to the list as well.
Well, speaking of Nykthos, here it is. Going to tap for black mana from the Nightfell Spectre, put a Pack Rat into play. And now, going to discard island and make a rat. So Reid is going to work here with Pack Rat. Bachand going to untap here, but now he's in trouble from his own card.
Now, this I have never seen before. The going off with Pack Rat.
This is new to me.
This is new territory.
I can't say I don't like it, because I do. I think it is an enjoyable experience as Pack Rat's going to come in here 4-2. Reid going to go down to 18. No interest in trading. Duke gonna draw a card here. Does have a Mutavault in his row, so you can actually just go the full mono black pack rat beatdowns.
Well, for example, here he can add 5 black, domesticate a pack rat, and make a pack rat.
It's not a bad turn.
That's just one option. Reid might find something better. That was my first blush guess at what the turn could offer.
I've heard of worse turns.
Yeah.
I will take your rat, I will make a rat, and I will crush you. You see him starting to slide his lands over a little bit. That might be the route that he does take.
It also means he has 4 rats in place, so Bioblight's no longer a concern.
Yeah, that goes off. That's not bad.
Exciting stuff.
Black mana. Here's 2 blue. This looks like the line he's going to take here. There's a domestication. I will take that. It's got a couple mana floating here with the ability to make a pack rat if he'd like.
Yeah, because the Nykthos makes 5.
Yep.
So he has 3 mana floating now. He spent 2 additional blue, plus 2 colorless.
And it looks like he's just going to move forward here with an attack. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points of damage Bachand will take. There will be a Nightveil Spectre trigger here in just a moment. That'll reveal a Mutavault. Sure. Put that right into play. Nightveil Spectre is just a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, actually. I think the design's super sweet.
Yeah, I like that card a lot, actually. Here's the plan for Bachand. Might be a little too late at this point.
Pretty high variance, allows for moments to occur that really no other card enables.
There are a lot of stories of Pro Tour Theros about that card doing some ridiculous things. And a lot of the time it's a card that, forces action from your opponent, and it can dominate a game all by itself. We've seen it many times.
It also has games where it does really nothing. So there's a wide range of the way that card plays out.
Yeah. One of the better Spectre cards that we've seen over the years. What's the best Spectre? Blazing?
Probably Hypnotic Spectre.
Yeah,
I mean, in terms of class, Hypnotic Spectre was a dominating force in like the mid-90s, more than any other Spectre down the line ever became.
Banishing Light going to show up here. See what that's going to target. Domestication's not a bad choice. You get Jacob his pack rat back. However, again, he might just be a little too far behind. Reid with the pack rat advantage, 2 Mutavaults as well.
I think Jacob might be on chump blocking detail this turn. I mean, Reid's representing the ability to make these rats into, at least make 2 rats and activate his Mutavault. So Jacob is looking to start chump blocking this turn. Reid, being the way that he is about things, is still going to slow down, take his time, and make sure he's not walking anything unnecessary, but he has a commanding edge here.
Yeah, just doesn't want to make an error when he's so far ahead at this point. Which is smart. A lot of players, when they are ahead, maybe play a little too quickly. I'm certainly guilty. Wants to make sure he doesn't make any errors. That's why he's one of the best players in the world.
I'm charmed by a player of Reid's ability level and resume and fame wearing the Pro Tour competitor shirt. Do you think any of his opponents are like, oh, I had no idea. That's so sweet that you played in a Pro Tour. That's really cool.
Yeah. Where'd you get that?
Where'd you get that? Exactly. How'd you qualify?
Yeah. I woke up, mostly. That's how I queued. Here's an island. Looks like Nykthos is going to be generating a bunch of mana. Domestication. I will take that. Thank you. I will activate these. Let's go into the red zone here. Pack rats are 4/4, we block a rat. We take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like Xaxes to me.
So 6 uncontested, and then 4 either way.
Rats are actually 5s. 2 Mutavaults and the new rat over there. And that's going to do it. Reid Duke is going to win this match over Jacob Bachand. 2-0. Mono Blue Devotion wins our first match on the weekend here from Worcester.
And even in a matchup where you wouldn't think that domestication was going to be the best thing, you think the battle's eventually going to be over something like Obzad or Blood Baron. In that sort of game, the way Jacob's draw was, domestication was outrageous.
Yes, really, really good against him. And I mean, he does have a lot of domestication targets. Of course, Pack Rat, Lifebane Zombie. There are times where you can take a Desecration Demon to force through damage. You're not going to catch an Obzad, I will give you that. But the targets there are actually pretty plentiful in the matchup.
It's a high variance card. It's not going to be excellent in every single game that you play, but they certainly were good in that one.
And opting to go with 2 of those main deck and 2 in the sideboard, Reid really feeling like domestication is really well situated for the weekend.
It's a powerful card. I mean, the only reason that its representation has been low historically was because mono black devotion and Sphinx's Revelation of some sort was the battle that you're fighting. There's a lot of matchups where Domestication is your best card. So if Reid's anticipating the metagame's a little bit more open this weekend, maybe he's going to be playing against more mono red, maybe he's going to be playing against more mirror matches, that sort of thing. Main deck Domestication makes a lot of sense.